So, if you change everything, you actually end up changing nothing. Now, before I go any further, if you're watching me live right now, comment live down below. If you're watching me on the replay at any point in the future, whether that be later today, tomorrow, next week, next month, whenever that may be, comment replay down below. So, this is an obstacle or a challenge that I see presented all too often in the ladies, inside of our free group and community, or just on Facebook as a whole. And that is ladies trying to change too much. Okay, now why is this a problem? It can be very overwhelming. It can be too difficult to manage, lack of time. Trying to spin all of these plates at once very often leads to some of those plates, falling, crashing, and smashing. And that, doesn't feel too good when you set intentions that you don't stick to. And that in itself can lead to a spiral. Now, that is a whole nother live video for itself. But trying to change everything very often leads to you changing nothing because of these reasons that we just went through. It's incredibly overwhelming. You very often struggle to manage, these abundance of tasks. You haven't got the time, and it relies on you being motivated all the time. Now, if you was to ask an Olympic athlete, are you motivated every single day? They would say, absolutely not. I am not motivated all day, every day. If you was to ask any of the ladies that we coach, are you motivated all day, every day? They would say, of course not. But how are they still getting those results? Because they're not relying on motivation. If you set these big, grand goals and intentions that involve you changing everything you eat, walking 10,000 steps, going to bed 2 hours earlier, whatever it may be, going to the gym 5 days a week, whilst you're feeling motivated, yeah, you're going to be incredibly successful. You're gonna nail it. But what happens when you wake up and you're not feeling motivated? What happens? Well, you're not going to do it. You're not going to be consistent. So it's important that we set goals and intentions that are manageable and that are realistic. Okay, setting goals which are almost, so easy, they're unfailable. If we was to go through, how to set goals, it would look something like this. First of all, like, the theme of this live, don't try and change everything at once, because if you do that, it's going to be too difficult to manage and you're just not going to be successful. So instead, choose, 2 to 3 or even just one intention for these next few weeks and make it specific. Make it really specific. I want to walk more is not a specific actionable goal. When are you going to walk more? How are you going to walk more? Because a goal without a plan is really just a wish. Okay, so be specific and plan it. If you want to start walking more, fantastic. When and how, what time are you most likely to get that done? Okay, if you want to start eating healthier, how? What are you going to do? Are you going to get a bunch of, frozen veg to make this, easier to stick to? Are you going to plan your week's meals ahead of time? What does that look like? Because if you don't plan it or make it specific, you are relying on finding the right time or remembering to do it. And neither of those two things leads to any kind of consistency. So plan it and make it specific. Second of all, make it easy. Make it easy. If you're currently getting 3,000 steps a day, set a goal of 4,000 steps, an extra 1,000 steps a day. That's, somewhere between 7 to 10 minutes worth of walking. When's that going to happen? Again, make it specific and plan it. Is it going to happen before work, on your lunch break, straight after work, before dinner, after dinner? Plan it, make it specific, and make it easy. so that you are not relying on huge amount of motivation to get started and to keep going. Because like we just said, if you're relying on motivation, you're not going to be doing it much longer rather than a few weeks. Because just like every other human on this planet, you are not going to be motivated all day, every day. Okay. So those are, that's what I would start with. First of all, being specific, planning it, and make it easy. Change one thing, two things, maybe three things maximum. But the more that you change in the long run, the less that you're actually going to change. Okay. Don't make this one big, huge, overwhelming, I've got to get my life and I've got to turn it upside down. No, you don't. The ladies that we coach, when we start, we run those ladies through something that we call ground zero. All of the things that we're going to be starting with. And typically, there's only 2 to 3 things that we start with at any given time. And that is with my help. That is with daily one-to-one handheld support. And we still only start with 2 to 3 things. And we establish those things as a habit, something that doesn't rely on motivation, something that person just does because that is now ingrained in their identity. Just like I go to the gym 5-6 days a week. Do you think I want to? Do you think I'm motivated to go to the gym 5-6 times a week? Of course not. Okay, and that's just one example of many. Do you think the ladies that we coach are incredibly motivated to go out on a walk every day, whether it be 5 minutes or 10 minutes? Of course they're not. But how are they still able to be so consistent? Because we start from the bottom, we establish these things easily and specific, and we compound, we add onto that over time. And 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, they are walking 8, 9, 10,000 steps. But that was a gradual increase to the point that it was barely even noticeable. And I'm not saying, by the way, 8, 9 or even 10,000 steps are required. Absolutely not. A lot of the ladies we coach don't walk that many steps, and new ladies listening to this probably will never need to walk that many steps. But this is just an example. All right, ladies. So if you take anything from this video, it is that I can't stress enough that you do not try to change too much at once. Because if you do, a week, several weeks later, you're going to fall flat on your face. And I don't want that. Start with 1, 2, even maybe 3 things maximum. Be specific, plan it, and make it easy. All right, ladies, do not rely on that fallacy called motivation, because motivation isn't going to get you to your goals. Motivation is something that every now and then is going to be somewhat helpful. But none of you ladies need to be motivated in order to lose 20 to 100 pounds, lower your A1C, and achieve remission. Okay? If you're thinking that you do, then you're already setting your sights on something that does not exist. Doesn't exist. It's not a thing. All right? Okay, ladies. Hope you found this helpful. If you did, comment helpful down below. If you've got any questions or concerns about any of the things that we did just go through, again, please do put those down below. Remember, I know I sound like a broken record, but I do these lives to help you ladies, and I don't want you leaving any more confused than when you came. All right, take care. If you're watching me on Saturday, which is today, then happy Saturday. Have a great weekend. If you're watching me at any point in the future, regardless, have a great day, and I'll speak to you soon.